Sananda, why is it taking so long? I am Sananda, and I have come to be with you this time. In these times of uncertainty, of questions about what will happen next, what lies ahead, why is it taking so long? Many of you, so very many, are wondering about this. At this point, you're asking yourselves what it will take. Promises made, but not yet kept. Or at least that's how it appears to all of you, to too many of you. But what is really happening? What is truly going on behind the scenes? Because everything is exactly as it needs to be in this moment, and the next, and as awareness shifts, things change. So I can tell you right now that the situation is continuously evolving. You are going through a transitional phase, a transition you have known about for a long time that would bring you to this point. But, as has been said before, if this were a race, a marathon for instance, would you drop out just before reaching the finish line? And the answer, of course, is no, you would not. But many of you still don't see the finish line. So perhaps that's why you are lagging behind, holding yourselves back. Yes, it's true. All of us say, let go of the matrix, disconnect from the matrix. And indeed, you must do this more and more. But does that mean burying your head in the sand, so speak? No, it does not mean that. Does it mean stopping helping others reach the same understanding you have? No, it does not mean that either. Because when they are ready, they will turn to you, have been awake for a long time. And when they turn to you, you will be ready to lend them a hand, as requested, as needed. But the time is coming, my friends, brothers and sisters. The time is coming when you will all begin to recognize more and more who you truly are and what your purpose in life is. As you have heard so many times, you are here to show us the way. But to show it, you must be prepared to do so. And that is precisely what we have all been doing. We, the Ascended Masters, the galactic beings, the Agarthans, the angels working with you, the archangels. We are all here to assist you in this process. You are never, ever alone. So even in those moments when you feel down, depressed, when it seems like nothing is going right or that it's taking too long, take a moment and ask for help. Ask for energy to flow into you to counteract the low-frequency energies that are bringing you down in that moment. And when you do, you will realize that you are more ready than you can possibly imagine right now to fight, to battle against those forces that try to hold you back. And when I say you, I mean the collective you that the forces of darkness are trying to restrain, to keep relegated to the lower energies, to the lower frequencies. But you have all reached the point where you are no longer held back, restrained, unless you allow it. To free yourselves from those chains, from those shackles, from those bindings that have kept you anchored to this three-dimensional world of illusions, to the matrix. Yes, truly, disconnect from the matrix as much as possible in every single moment, and you will find the strength and energy to move forward, to reach the next step, and the next one, and the next one after that. Finally, you will reach the finish line. It is right there in front of all of you. Just reach out and grasp it. I am Sananda, and I now leave you in peace, love, and unity. And may you continue to recognize and realize within yourselves the strength you have, the power that is within you, to see the day that is right before you, in every moment. Message from the angels. You can be yourself, dearest friends. We love you so immensely. Every one of you desires to feel a sense of connection in life. For some of you, this shows up as a desire to connect with the divine, in whatever form you perceive it. Others want to feel connected to animals or nature. Most of you desire harmonious and uplifting connections with other human beings. But beyond all of these desires, what you all want more than anything is a harmonious connection with your inner self, a relationship aligned with the divine spark that lives and breathes within you. You want to connect with the love and light that are within you. You want to feel that alignment. You want to feel the best and most loving version of yourself. Have you ever observed someone who seems to handle every kind of relationship, even unpleasant ones, with grace and diplomacy? They can be kind in one moment, firm in the next, but in every circumstance they maintain their dignity, grace, and inner balance. They know how to listen and communicate in a way that truly resonates with people. You admire these souls. You know that this type of interaction is possible. You want to be equally grounded and centered in your best self. So you ask yourself, why do I let others bother me? Why do I feel tense, upset, or afraid in their presence? Why do I let myself get dragged into disagreements? Why does it seem so difficult to find the grace, dignity, and even the words to handle difficult relationships in a way that doesn't diminish me? From our perspective, kindness is your true essence. In your essence, you are a deeply loving and sensitive being who wants to love and be loved. The only difference between a kind soul and one who feels victimized by others is that the former takes the reins of their own reality, their inner state, their interactions, and how they present themselves. They decide when, how, and whether to engage. They choose to be loving and kind regardless of what others do. A frustrated soul externalizes their emotions, letting themselves be conditioned by others' words and actions. A serene soul, on the other hand, decides independently how to feel, regardless of others' words and emotions. Many of you oscillate between these two states throughout the day, managing to maintain your balance in many cases and losing it in others. We understand that it's easy to get upset by others' unkind behavior. No one wants a controlling, manipulative, argumentative, or negative person in their life. You would much rather be with people who are responsible for their own moods, who allow you to be yourself, and who want the best for everyone. And you all deserve these kinds of relationships. However, it's inevitable that you'll encounter other people with different personalities in life. You'll find them at work, while running errands, and often within your own families. They will be your challenges and your teachers. And sometimes, you will be the difficult person for others. So how do you stay grounded in your inner balance and love in the presence of difficult people? Start by reminding yourself that you have the right to be yourself, regardless of what others say, think, or do. When you're in the company of someone who tells you how you should think or act, you can grant both them and yourself the right to disagree. You can defuse a conversation by saying something kind and sincere. I believe everyone has to find their own path. I'm glad you found one that works for you. You have to mean it. Energy speaks louder than words. A sincere, balanced, and calm statement can disarm a bully. In the best case, they learn something. In the worst case, they think you're well-intentioned but difficult. When you struggle to connect with someone, perhaps because they don't listen, they're insecure, or they have a different goal, you can first show understanding, which will calm them down and make them more willing to understand you. There's no need to get defensive. A confident, calm person has nothing to prove. They know who they are. You can take a deep breath, try to understand all points of view, and from that understanding, communicate in new ways. For example, suppose you say, I need to go to the store on Saturday. Your spouse, parent, or child replies, you never have time for me. Take a deep breath. I'm so sorry. I understand you. It would be nice to have more time together. But there's so much to do, and we need to go grocery shopping. Would you prefer I do it Saturday, or get it done earlier so we can spend time together? Or we could spend a little more and have it delivered Friday evening, so we can spend time together on Saturday. What do you think? As if you were dealing with a hurt child. And often, in these cases, you listen, acknowledge the situation, and then offer solutions. When you can, be kind to yourself and spend time with people you get along with and enjoy. But when you have to be near a difficult person, remember this simple truth. Everyone wants to feel seen, heard, loved, and acknowledged. And if you give difficult souls the gift of being seen, heard, loved, and acknowledged, most will calm down and bring out a kinder version of themselves. Should you act like an adult around someone acting like a scared or upset child? No, dear ones. There are no shoulds. But if you desire peace and harmony, you can find them within yourself, regardless of what others show you. You can bring your centeredness into every interaction. You can listen with the awareness that everyone, no matter how well or poorly they behave, is seeking love. You can be the grace, love, and kindness that you are, and in doing so, transform many of your interactions. And when you cannot influence someone for the better, you can avoid letting their rudeness creep into your sense of identity. There will always be wonderful souls with whom it's a pleasure to be. There will always be difficult souls with whom it's challenging to relate. But as you perfect your relationship with yourself, you'll find it's much easier to interact with everyone. Difficult people will suddenly appear to you as the scared or frustrated beings they truly are. And when you see the child within them, compassion will awaken in your heart. Whether you choose to interact or not, you can connect with the love within you, and in that reality, harmony will naturally unfold. God bless you. We love you so much. The Angel's Digital Detox. When silence becomes deafening, when silence seems deafening, true healing can begin. Discover how stepping away from screens uncovered anxiety, improved focus, and deepened spiritual connection for Brenda Patrick. At the end of each year, I take a day-long road trip across Nigeria, from Port Harcourt to Lagos, to spend the long holidays with my family. For most medical students, this might mean not studying for a while. For me, it meant writing online. I'd taken up content creation as a side hustle, to earn some money and take a mental break from medical studies. I had essentially abandoned my freelance health and lifestyle work to focus on exams, so I'd planned to use the holidays to build my presence on X, formerly Twitter, and Medium. I had no idea I was setting myself up for a battle I wasn't equipped to win. Creating content meant spending a massive amount of time on my phone, constantly scrolling, posting, and engaging with other users. I spent hours scouring news outlets to pitch my articles, or researching articles and YouTube videos to improve my writing. I even answered emails while eating. I generally didn't mind. Earning money doing something most people did for free seemed like a good idea. But I was constantly busy and overstimulated without realizing it. My phone wasn't just a work tool. It accompanied me even in my most sacred moments. Every morning I'd open Adobe Acrobat on my phone and read my meditations alongside a digital copy of the Bible. Often, though, I felt distant from God during prayer. My mind wandered when I tried to meditate on the Word, and sometimes I'd lose myself on social media while reading my devotions. Over time, I lost focus. I couldn't come up with content ideas like I used to. I felt like I could barely hear God's voice when I prayed, distracted by what was happening online. Beginning the fast, I decided to start a digital detox following advice I'd seen on social media. I committed to a week without social media and to abstaining from digital devices for at least 12 hours a day. The first day gave me a sense of inner strength. I was proud of myself for taking a brave step toward positive change. The second day, however, boredom set in, followed by an awkward silence. Both became excuses to stay in bed longer than usual. Soon after, fatigue set in. My eyes were constantly tired, and I felt dizzier than expected. I was exercising and eating well, so I couldn't understand where all the exhaustion was coming from. Then I found myself confronting thoughts and emotions I didn't know existed. I realized I was anxious about many things: my future, my relationships, my studies, and even my writing career. My digital frenzy had kept those feelings buried. Why silence feels louder than noise? I never would have thought silence could be so deafening until I started my digital detox. Apparently, silence poses a threat to an overstimulated brain. It brings latent anxieties to the surface. Even in nature, if the jungle goes quiet, it often means danger is near. Similarly, the human brain interprets familiar noises as a sign of safety, signaling the body to relax. The mind becomes so accustomed to constant noise that silence can feel unsettling. But for me, the silence ultimately proved illuminating. I discovered I was more sensitive to my surroundings. My devotion felt more fulfilling because my mind wandered less. I could actually pray and truly listen to God. The hidden emotions that surfaced at first frightened me, but I learned to manage them. I channeled my anxiety into planning for the new year, which helped clarify the uncertainties that plagued me. Creative ideas for building my personal brand on X came in waves, which later contributed significantly to my account's growth. Several studies have shown that silence contributes to improved memory, learning, sensitivity, and emotions. Although my period of silence began with restlessness, I eventually slept better and fell asleep faster. Some studies suggest that blue light emitted by devices suppresses melatonin, the sleep hormone. For me, silence wasn't just a consequence of digital detox. It became a way to connect with my inner self, an exercise that slowly brought me genuine inner peace. How to handle silence facing a digital fast for the first time was hard. I had an intermittent urge to pick up my phone and couldn't stop thinking I was wasting time when I wasn't creating online content. I tried meditation, but it only intensified the feeling of silence. What helped me cope was staying busy without digital devices. I kept my mind active with simple analog activities: reading a physical book, playing board or outdoor games, taking walks and observing my surroundings, or having face-to-face conversations with familiar people or even strangers. Creating space for silence, I learned that after a digital fast, achieving deep silence every day might not be possible, but you can still introduce calm into your life. Here are some methods I developed to keep my mind detoxed. 1. Schedule screen time. Since content creation was my excuse for so much phone time, I now plan and limit social media use. I only spend an hour and a half on X, then move on to something else. I found I work more focused during these shorter periods. 2. Turn off notifications. When I need my phone primarily for work and study, I turn off social media notifications that could otherwise distract me. 3. Keep the phone out of reach. I put my phone away while eating, working, cleaning, or cooking. This curbs my urge to check it. 4. Replace digital books with physical ones. Using digital devotional texts and the Bible often led me to use my phone more than necessary. Now I prefer relying on physical copies. The purpose of a digital fast isn't to label technology as evil or to return to the Stone Age. It's rather about learning to put down the phone to savor your surroundings and enjoy the silence. Social media and notifications will always be there later. A call to activation from the Arcturians' beloved family of Earth. Today, through this channel, we bring words of encouragement to all those who wish to listen. We are Arcturians, and we unite our efforts with the voice of many who seek to help you evolve toward a new level of consciousness on your planet, one that will support the presence of all life, not just a chosen few. And this, for many, means that great improvements await us, as the rising waves of change are influencing society. Those who currently hold power due to an abuse of power will not remain there for long. One by one, the truth about their actions will surface, and society will begin to change. However, this epochal change will not happen merely through the shifting of authority positions of one or two individuals. We invite you to consider it in terms of empowering the many, rather than dismantling the few. Because that is where true power lies, and that is what is being sought to be reclaimed. In practical terms, this means the work lies in helping one another, in reclaiming your innate power of sovereignty, freedom, and devoted service to all, not to a few. When even one of you resonates with this truth, that this planet was designed to be a paradise, a blessing, a diverse expression of multiple life forms, supporting it will bring about divine transformation in your hearts and lives. Finding what resonates with your deepest desire to create a society that blesses everyone and does not place the craving for power above the life of another life form will give you great nourishment, directly from the source of creation. When you plant your stakes in the ground, affirming that what you seek to create is new and different, and comes from a different energy than the past, an energy you deem worthy of your passion, your dedication to creating a better world, and all of your energy, in harmony with the life around you, then you will discover paths and opportunities you hadn't seen before. This is actually the key to opening, the blessing of quantum creation. Your ability to create a new world is amplified, not simply by learning to do things faster with tools like computers, systems, or different individuals, but through the deeper intention and alignment with the original blueprint of planet Earth. So if you will just tune in within and listen carefully to what you intrinsically desire to accomplish in this regard, you may discover opportunities you had never noticed, seen, or believed in before. And by choosing to open these windows of opportunity and seizing them, trusting in your support, that is where you will see the fastest change occur in your society. You could see it this way. When many people across the planet are striving to live in harmony, and, in doing so, choose to align their individual lives with this truth, then radical change becomes possible in a very short period of time. Therefore, awakening one another to the awareness of what is possible to achieve from your own individual paths and vision is an endeavor worthy of anyone's effort. Every person who gets activated will trigger a ripple effect throughout society. Then others will begin to feel the restlessness of staying anchored in old habits and will start seeking opportunities for change. New ways of learning, new ways of seeing the world. And even if they just experiment with new approaches to life, that's like a crack in the structure of power that starts small, but can spread like wildfire in an instant, as momentum builds, person to person, one by one, connecting online to their divine blueprint. If you feel the call to help others in this work, now is the time to offer your contribution to the world, with devotion to your wonderful Mother Earth, and with the intent to show a new way forward for many. Because so many people are needed, do not fear that. Someone might take your place. There are multiple needs and necessities to be met. Offer your unique contribution, whether it's a healing technique, a new book, a local event, an art form, a new way of living in family and at home, a change in your behavioral patterns that spreads throughout your household. All these things will spread and touch others, who in turn will awaken and begin to make their own changes. That is why, in your world, it is wise to focus on acting locally, rather than just paying attention to what's happening around you. Certainly, your prayers and your desire for change in the world are welcome and a blessing, but the place where you can truly make a difference now is right in front of you, in the moment of your life where you find yourself. Trust, then, that these waves will spread far and wide as you make shifts in perspective, new aligned choices of action, in dedication to living in a new world. Because all these things come together to create that great epical change. Leaders, arise and receive this transmission of faith and trust from us, your brothers and sisters, from a distant star system, have watched over you and care for you deeply, so that you may rise to your potential and discover the path within you that will lead you to a new day. We are the Arcturians. People commit first to defending their ego, Then to seeking truth, everyone starts every conversation initially assuming they are intelligent/rational/unbiased/spiritually aligned. And they don't extend this assumption to others, unless they know in advance that a certain person is indeed well informed on that particular topic. So, everyone is intrinsically influenced by biases, as they tend to take positive things about themselves for granted and don't extend those assumptions to others. If someone hears an opinion different from another seemingly normal person's, a slight cognitive dissonance is triggered, which is usually resolved by simply thinking, oh, apparently that other person is stupid/misinformed/biased/spiritually backward. Furthermore, people are heavily emotionally invested in defending their worldview and presenting themselves and their group as good and reasonable people. For this reason, you see, for example, people taking a complex situation where everyone has some fault and constructing a neat narrative where the other person is the villain, maybe admitting a small fault themselves to appear reasonable. They might, for instance, start their story exactly from the point in the timeline that makes them look good and the other person bad, ignoring the negative things they did before. People have conflicting values, like kindness and truth-telling, and will simply point to the value that is convenient for them at that moment. If someone has said something harsh, then they will consider truth-telling the most important value. If instead someone has said something harsh to them, then kindness becomes the most important value. A person who today says kindness is the most important thing to blame another person, tomorrow will readily say telling the truth is the most important thing to blame another person. Some people are indeed more intelligent/aware/spiritually evolved/have actually achieved more in life than others, but this in turn leads them to fall into a huge trap, where they use this awareness as a weapon to think, I'm the only reasonable one in the room. Everyone else, except a handful of my peers, is not at my level, and is automatically wrong if they don't agree with me. Moreover, intelligent people are better at rationalizing their own absurdities. This makes intelligent/aware/spiritually evolved/successful people often even more closed-minded, more blind to their own misperceptions, and more blind to the truly valid ideas that some ordinary people might have. In essence, people consider themselves seekers of truth, but in reality, almost everyone is dedicated first to defending their ego and only secondarily to seeking truth. And if you can't recognize the ego defense patterns/impulses in yourself, that doesn't mean you are enlightened and have overcome them, but that you are completely blind to your shadow. One who serves and Shoshanna. Behind the scenes OWS Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, OM. One who serves is here, and we believe Shoshanna is also with us, and we are ready to assist you with your questions and help you along your path. That's what this is all about. That's why we gather every Sunday once a week, so you can come together as a group, and then discover that the energies you generate in these sessions spread out to many, beyond this group, to many other groups around the world. These energies you develop here, that you build here, radiate out to very many other people across the planet. And the meditations you do here are perceived by many other people around the world, even if they don't realize they are receiving these energies. It all revolves around the energies that come from above and below, from within and without. Right now, you are the generators of these energies. We are available to answer your questions, should you have any. Remember, we keep hearing about things happening behind the scenes. Is there a way to get a glimpse of what's really going on behind the scenes? Also, can we be of help to you? OWS, what we will tell you is that you will be able to see what happens behind the scenes only if you open your eyes. Open your physical eyes, but also your third eye, so you can begin to perceive what is not shown to the public and the metaphysical aspects of things. But many physical things also happen within the matrix, which, for those with eyes to see and ears to hear, are there for the taking. Again, open yourselves, in this case, open your third eye, and you will be able to perceive much more of what has been hidden. Understand that many things have been hidden from most people, so you simply must let go and allow the process to unfold as much as possible. We hope this helps you. Shoshanna, do you have anything to add? Shoshanna, well, we have our perspective, if you would like us to share it. Member as always, please. Yes, Shoshanna, dear brother. We note that those who wish to understand more deeply the mechanisms of this transformation occurring in your world, those who wish to get a glimpse behind the scenes. First, this requires an analytical mindset and the willingness to examine the mechanisms at play. The second thing we want to say is that to understand and delve deeper into what is happening, you need to strengthen your faith, which will then reveal itself more easily, because faith is an integral part of the world. OWS, and what we would like to add here is that the first thing you must understand is that many things are happening behind the scenes. So it is not an empty promise from us that this is happening and that these things will be revealed, or will be revealed when the timing and frequency align at the right point, as is necessary here. Frequency rising everywhere, putting yourself, yes, within and without. Are there any other questions? Member yes, okay, not a couple, but let me use one. Again, we're watching the Charlie Kirk scenario unfolding, and it seems like MAGA supporters are using the same playbook the deep state once used, which is to persecute anyone who questions the narrative. They have their whole narrative. They attack, they silence them, and they do everything. And obviously the other side has excellent reasons to question this whole story about Charlie Kirk's death, which, doesn't add up. We know that, as we understand it, he is not dead. But I'm trying to understand why it makes sense for them to use the same dirty tactics as the other side, in the service of the light. Why should that make sense? Can you explain that to me? OWS, we will tell you that things are not at all as they seem. So, again, bear in mind that many things happen behind the scenes, many things you wouldn't expect, that are part of the ethical control present here. So it will be revealed at times to come here, and when the frequency reaches the right point where these things come to light. It is also associated with those great changes that have been spoken of, like disclosure, like medical beds being released, and other technologies being released alongside it. It's all part of the same thing. So, even if it appears that one side is using the same pattern as the other, and that might be the case, all of this has a broader reason. And that reason will become clear to you, not too far from now. Shoshanna, do you have anything to add? Shoshanna, oh, we have a question for our dear sister. May we ask her a question, sister? Member yes. Shoshanna, are you disappointed? Member I'm annoyed. I'm just asking, I'm like a warrior for truth and justice. And it seems like they are, maybe I should really drop my warrior side because they seem to be attacking this activity in such an unfair way. I never would have thought that the side of light could be so unfair. Shoshanna, well, we don't necessarily see that those who call themselves MAGA, those participating in the MAGA movement, necessarily serve the light. Some are not. This is a planet of duality. There is darkness, there is light, there is light, there is darkness. Light merges with darkness, illuminating it. But it's not always like that. And what we see in what is happening is the desire for a narrative, the desire for, many are involved in this for what you call a belief, in order to be able to close it off. They are not interested in the truth. Many are not interested in the truth. And we, as human beings, don't know who would say. You don't know everything that is happening, all the little mechanisms and facts that occur within and outside this movie. And we would remind you that this is part of the movie. And your job in the movie is to serve the light, too. Keep the light within you, and push back against the follies that are happening. It's not even close to reality in this process that is happening. It is not even close. And we tell you again, because we believe it was us who shed light on this matter, that the one you call Charlie Kirk, a fictitious name by the way, is alive and well. It was all a plan. And the plan is part of the movie, and the movie is part of the awakening, and the awakening is part of the focus. Have faith, dear one. And please, calm your annoyance because that frequency is harmful to you, and to those around you. Remember, I think deep down in my soul there is a certain thing. Maybe I need to let it go, because there's never any justice. It seems so unfair. Injustice is a trigger. It's so unfair that those who are finally opening their eyes and showing what's really there, which we wanted 10 years ago, don't want it because of the Charlie Kirk business. Shoshanna, so, we know you are a warrior for justice. We have always known it, and it's part of your soul. And this planet, and this three-dimensional reality, doesn't allow it. You see, so you must rise above it, as you indicated. And rising above it means letting it go. Rising above it, recognizing and realizing that it's all part of the movement. OWS, and we would like to add that, when we look at this movie, what are the aspects that are common to almost all the movies you have seen? Where people come together, in whatever way, whether it's a love story or whatever, they come together, and then the villain comes along, the villain who separates them. And then what's the Hollywood ending? Isn't there always a Hollywood ending in these movies, where they eventually reunite and all live happily ever after? Well, that's what is happening. So, at this point, we are dealing more with the villain aspect. And this will play out over the course of the story. That's all we can say. Shoshanna, and what you should all notice is that the game is always the same. It doesn't change because this is the 3D reality you are watching. It's the same thing. All your movies, all your stories, all your judicial systems, everything is the same, so don't pay it any mind. OWS, are there any other questions? Member, I have a question. When I'm in teacher mode, and I'm having trouble answering a question, regarding what we are about to do in terms of ascension, but also the process of explaining it. Could you provide me with simple words that make it understandable? OWS, we will tell you that it's hard to explain the ascension process to someone who knows nothing about it, who has no understanding or awareness of it. So to share with that kind of person, they are not ready. But you can speak in terms of frequency, vibration, consciousness, and not so much the word ascension, but the upward movement in consciousness. Many people can understand that. So talk about it that way, rather than the idea of ascension, where people might think they just disappear from the sight of everyone who is not ascending. That's a hard concept to share right now. So let's talk about it in terms of frequency and consciousness. Shoshanna, is there anything you'd like to add? Shoshanna, well, we would ask this question. What is the question they ask you? What is the question you were asked as a teacher? What was the question put to you? Remember, they wanted to know the process and every single step, I guess step by step. They even asked me a question I'd never thought of. But, well, how do we know when it's time? Do we know? Because in the Bible it says the trumpets will sound. You know, they think in terms of the rapture, that there will be trumpet blasts. So we'll know it's time. And I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know anything about trumpets. So they want to know how we prepare. That's what they say. And how do we prepare? Shoshanna, well, let's address it. Because it's quite simple, isn't it? How do you prepare for how do you prepare? Well, those who are immersed in religion, the Bible, and things like that, look for words they can identify with. So we would say it's good to express it in simpler words. The Bible and biblical characters. The Bible speaks of loving your neighbor and things like that, not being selfish, being servants. It's all there. So in ascended consciousness, a being who has reached a high consciousness and rises to the level of a higher dimensional consciousness is not selfish, gives of themselves without thinking about what they can get in return. They love and find a way to love unconditionally. They find a way to give when they have nothing to give. So things like that. When an individual is angry, hates something, is immersed in competitiveness, my religion is better than your religion, my God is better than your God. If religion does that, it creates competition among those who are religious. When you immerse yourself in that, you cannot ascend, you cannot find awareness. Everyone who goes beyond realizes they don't need religion to be servants. They don't need religion to seek love, compassion, and understanding. Teach them this. Love selflessly. Don't judge. Try to understand those around you. Don't be competitive. Give even when you have nothing left to give. Love all beings. Start there. And most of those on this planet who are tied to three-dimensional consciousness find hard to achieve these goals. But that's the start. That's where you begin. It doesn't matter if it's a glass of sand. It's irrelevant. What matters is what you do. What matters is how you treat others. It's all encapsulated in the commandments too. Does that make sense to you? Remember, yes. Okay, so you need to scale it back a bit and be simpler. Shoshanna, simply put aside your analytical mind and realize the simplicity of being a loving being. That's the answer. We apologize for that, but you spend time in your brain. OWS, very well. We need to release the channel. We will answer one more question if there is one. Otherwise, we will release it. Remember, I have a rather short question. The smoke affecting the state of Pennsylvania is being called a purple code, and I looked up the meaning of purple code, and it also refers to the abduction of a minor over the age of 12. So what I'm wondering is this really the final version? Is it really more smoke hiding in nature, but using the same purple word code? Thank you. OWS, we didn't quite understand the question. Shoshanna, do you understand it? Shoshanna, yes. I have no idea. Yes. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. Remember, they use the term cold purple to describe the smoke, but they also use it when there's been a child abduction. But I'm wondering if it's actually the opposite, namely the release of illegally abducted children, and if the fire smoke isn't actually hiding all these activities, perhaps in many cities in that area, to get these children out, to free them. I'm wondering if it's actually the smoke that's facilitating the release of the children. OWS, at this point, we would say that, with your question, you have most likely already found the answer. You are asking yourself this question and we think you already know it, or you have already received the answer. Isn't that so? Remember, yes, I think asking it out loud is certainly helpful. Thank you. Shoshanna, we will simply tell you to trust your gut, your intuition. You are highly intuitive beings and you see things with great clarity, and that's the challenge for all of us. And we apologize because we dove in headfirst without even asking the others to do anything. We ask you to trust your gut, your intuition. You are highly intuitive beings who understand that for most things that happen, in reality, the opposite is also always happening. And we appreciate that you can see beyond all this. And we know you can. OWS Shoshanna. Do you have a closing message to add? Shoshanna, well, as we have always said, it's crucial to trust yourself. You have the answer to everything. It's you who knows what is in your heart, and that your heart is the mechanism that must lead you to a higher understanding. So we will tell you to trust yourselves and believe in your power to change what is here now. OWS very well. And we will simply tell you in your dialect, hang in there, because better times are just around the corner. Shanti, peace be with you. Be the one. The 12D creators. Humanity is ready to rise up. We are here for you. We are the creators. We are a 12th dimensional collective of non-physical beings, and we are here to help you. You are all taking yourselves back there on Earth, and you are doing it slowly and methodically. There is much for you to heal, transform, change, let go of, and the process is not always easy or fun. Remember that you chose to be born at exactly the time you were born, which means you chose to come into the world with the unique challenges humanity was facing at the time of your birth, and you knew you would have to confront many beliefs, many social norms, many forms of thought, and also many limitations. And you chose to be born on that version of planet Earth anyway. No one forced you to be there, and you're not there because you have so much karma that you couldn't avoid reincarnating. These are some of the ancient beliefs you find yourself clashing with. You must recognize that, as a soul, you chose to do this particular work that was given to you on Earth at this time. But we also want you to know that we understand how difficult the challenges are. We see how much you have put obstacles in your own way in this life. And yet you knew there existed the possibility of coming together and elevating as a collective consciousness toward your final destination, in one way or another. Those among you who are awake are doing it consciously. You are ascending consciously. You are doing the necessary work on yourselves to free yourselves from what you need to be free of, to discover what lies beneath the surface. You are doing what it takes to heal yourselves, and you are there to be shining examples for others of how it can be done. Now, there will always be among you those who want everything done for them. They are the ones who talk about waiting for a hospital bed to open up, for instance, and you are the ones who remind everyone that they have the power to heal themselves, whatever their diagnosis. You are the ones who must set the example of how to do it, how to walk that path. You know that sometimes in your lives you have wanted to give up. You know there have been moments when you said, these challenges are too hard. I don't want to be here. There must be something wrong, because I don't belong in this place. And yet you are there, and you are there for a reason. And when you recognize that you are there to be part of the solution, then you can move toward that reality with many other human beings following you. And we refer to the reality in which people come together, support each other, and rise above all those old limiting beliefs and those forms of hate and violence. You can make it, and you knew it before you incarnated. You knew you had the capacity within you, and you knew that the human beings you were incarnating with would also be able to rise up and become more fully themselves. And that is what we and others like us are here to tell you. We come to remind you that you chose all of this because you desire these challenges, and that you have everything within you need to rise above the level of consciousness you were born into on Earth. We are the creators, and we love you very much.